Hello and welcome to Money Matters. Shares in Facebook owner Meta Platforms fell nearly 30% after the social media giant issued a dismal profit forecast. Tonight, Douglas George reports on what analysts are saying about the meltdown at Mark Zuckerberg's money machine. Also, what's influencing the direction of global interest rates and the health of Macau's gaming sector as the Russian invasion of Ukraine pushes energy prices higher.
At the worst point in the sell-off, Meta was close to losing a fifth of its market value, erasing about $260 billion. A decline of this size would mark the company's worst one-day loss since its Wall Street debut in 2012.
Facebook was an unmitigated disaster. You're really starting to see the advertising headwinds from Apple and its privacy issues. This is a black-eye quarter for Facebook and something that's really going to send shockwaves across the market.
Meta reported a decline in daily active users from the previous quarter for the first time as competition with rivals like TikTok, the video sharing platform owned by China's ByteDance, heats up. Meta says about 3% of worldwide monthly active users in the fourth quarter consisted solely of violating accounts, while duplicate accounts may have represented about 11% of usage.
I think Facebook has a Mount Everest-like battle, an uphill climb to get back to growth. Because what we're seeing on the digital advertising side, the privacy issues, TikTok competition, this is a company, they changed their name, but the strategy and the monetization continues to be social media. And this was the dark days in terms of what we saw from the quarter.
Investors seem to have become highly selective after the sector's record-breaking run in recent months. The market expects policy tightening at the Federal Reserve to erode big tech's rich valuations following years of ultra-low interest rates. Research firm Vanda says purchases from retail investors in late 2020 and early 2021 were focused on meme stocks, shares that gain popularity through social media. Facebook boss Mark Zuckerberg's pivot to the metaverse for its future growth has failed to reassure investors against any setback in the company's fortunes.
I think Facebook could potentially monetize metaverse over the coming years. For now, the name change was a PR move. Fundamentally, it all comes down to social media, and they basically fell off a cliff this quarter in terms of growth. That's what the street cares about.
The so-called FANG group of Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google's Alphabet has seen around $400 billion in market capitalization wiped off in the opening weeks of 2022. Facebook has yet to bounce back from its losses. It must convince investors that its commitment to the metaverse will translate into growth, and soon. China's growth cycle has increasingly diverged from the West, prompting Beijing to ease monetary policy while the West considers tightening to fight inflation. Even as the country reported what seemed like strong growth in 2021, the People's Bank of China is clearly concerned about the economic impact of a shaky property sector, the long-term drawbacks of the zero-COVID policy, and the gumming up of supply chains from post-pandemic bottlenecks. Economists expect Beijing to ease monetary conditions further after fourth quarter GDP of 4% fell below expectations.
4% growth, by international standard, it's very decent. But by China's standard, I would say that 4% growth is actually very slow. So this is pretty much the slowest after the pandemic. And also, we have to go back to at least the early 1990s or so to see such a low growth rate.
After Russia finally decided to pull the trigger on its long-expected invasion of its neighbor, Ukraine, oil prices spiked to over $100 a barrel on international markets. That might put more downward pressure on China's growth rate. But Wu says a more acute factor on growth is the miscalculation by Beijing to yank the property sector's punch bowl just as GDP in the second half of 2022 hit the skids.
To rein in developers leverage. So that could explain why we see the property developers crackdown. And also, this is kind of a continuation of the leveraging campaign before the pandemic. So this is kind of, I wouldn't say expected, but then it's not something that's actually new. What's new is the magnitude of tightening.
Wu says the tech crackdown emerged from a genuine desire to curtail some of the sector's worst business practices, stifling competition, labor exploitation, and data abuse. Worsening demographics are perhaps the greatest long-term force blowing against the Chinese economy.
Meaning that at some point we can foresee that China's population and also China's labor force would shrink. I think that would happen at some point in the future. And so the investment into these new sectors would certainly offset this kind of headwind.
Focusing investment on innovative sectors like semiconductors, new energy technology, and other productivity-boosting sectors should be Beijing's path to supporting growth in the next 10 years. The number of new casinos allowed to operate in Macau will continue to be limited to 6 operators, but their license period will be cut in half to 10 years. The 2 Las Vegas-based casinos can breathe a sigh of relief, as there were doubts foreign companies would continue to hold their licenses. The 4 other licensees are Galaxy Entertainment, MGM China, Melco Resorts, and the legacy licensee, SJM Holdings, founded by tycoon Stanley Ho. The announcement, which has been long awaited by casino executives, investors, and analysts, puts an end to concerns that the government would change the status quo for the number of operators in the Chinese-controlled territory.
That will help to maintain the overall casino industry to be more stable. And on the other hand, for a 10-year concession period, if there's a new entry player, it will have a 3 to 5 years build-up time to build up its own casino results. So that means the operating life is only like 4 to 5 years. That's unfair to them. And another thing is Macau has a very limited space, so it's no good to just give a new player.
The former Portuguese colony is the world's biggest gambling hub in terms of money wagered. It massively tightened scrutiny of casinos in recent years, with authorities clamping down on illicit capital flows from mainland China and targeting underground lending. The shares of all 6 gaming companies experienced healthy jumps after the announcement. A handful of public groups and banks have lowered Hong Kong's GDP growth forecast amid the onslaught of Omicron. Standard Chartered Bank has joined other institutions in lowering their predictions for the city's economic growth this year. The British lender has revised Hong Kong's GDP expansion in 2022 to 1.2%, down from its earlier projection of 2.3%. It also says there was still a major risk the economy could contract by as much as minus 1.3% in the first quarter. The reduction comes as the city saw a surge in record infections and further tightened its social distancing rules until April. The government announced a new round of consumption vouchers to help cushion the financial impact. Stanchart says while the consumption voucher program could help stimulate spending in the second half, border closures with the mainland still remains a major concern. The Hong Kong General Chamber of Commerce slashed its forecast to 1.2% from 2.8%. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating whether recent stock sales by Tesla chief Elon Musk and his brother, Kimball, violated insider trading rules. The Wall Street Journal says the investigation began last year after Kimball sold shares of the electric car maker valued at nearly $110 million. That was a day before Musk polled Twitter users asking whether he should offload 10% of his stake in Tesla. The SEC issued a subpoena in November, 10 days after the poll, seeking some financial data. The probe would escalate Musk's battle with regulators as they scrutinize his social media posts and Tesla's alleged discrimination of workers.
Coming up on Money Matters, a tale of two stories in a Wanchai duplex. Stay with us. Welcome back to Money Matters. After months of flat hunting in the Central and Western District, we're moving on to another area, Wanchai. Residential properties are situated in the southern part of the district. Prices have slipped with a surge of COVID cases in recent weeks. In this episode, reporter Alice Kahn checks out a duplex in a Wanchai landmark.
Wanchai District is centrally located on the northern shore of Hong Kong Island. It was originally a fishing village. Johnson Road used to be the coastline before reclamation from 1921 to 1929. Throughout the years, it developed as an important business center for small and medium-sized companies. For decades, Wanchai's nightlife has been world-renowned. Wanchai is roughly divided into two parts these days. The reclaimed area north of Gloucester Road is referred to as Wanchai North. It is mainly a business area. South of Johnson Road is Wanchai South, which was long ago a place for Chinese settlement. Now, the southern area is known for its blend of old traditions and new residential development. Home to about 180,000 residents, Wanchai is also a popular area for over 600,000 commuting workers and shoppers who flock to the district daily.
I guess there's a lot of restaurants here and a lot of stores. That's what I came here for, to go to the store. I think it's good because it's close to a lot of public transportation. Convenience is probably the best thing.
This week, we went to Lee Tung Avenue off of Johnson Road. The street was known as Wedding Card Street, where shops printed, you guessed it, wedding cards. In 2003, the Urban Renewal Authority announced it would spend $3.6 billion to redevelop the street. The URA, together with Hopewell Holdings and Sino Group, replaced the old wedding card shops with swishy upscale restaurants and retail stores. There's also a luxury residential project. Built by the Sino Group in 2015, the project consists of two phases offering more than 1,200 units. The flat sizes range from 330 to 2,300 square feet. 60% of the homeowners are investors. Prices were as high as $33,700 per square foot in mid-2019, but they fell by up to 10% due to the pandemic.
The average home price in the avenue, which is around $27,700 per square foot, which is a bit higher than the average home price of the new developments in Wanchai, which is around $26,650 per square foot. In terms of the convenience, in terms of the neighborhood facilities, I think the avenues which is outperform the other developments in the areas.
The unit we visited is a 584 square foot duplex. The owner is asking $17 million, or $29,110 per square foot, higher than the average transacted price. The 200 square foot living room showed some problems right away.
But this corridor area is quite
narrow. So I think
you can't put any shoe cabinets here.
the shoes cabinet can put here.
This is a dining area. Then can we fit a table for 4 or 6?
Right here you can put a rectangle shape dining table for 6. 3 here and 3 there is fine.
But after putting that a dining table here, then are there any space for a cabinet?
Sure, you can put the shoes cabinet, also a display cabinet right this wall.
The whole living area is spacious and rectangular.
How do we lay out the sofa?
Most likely, the people will put the sofa right here, as if you put the sofa here, you can enjoy the view outside. And here you can put a small coffee table, and right there put a TV. And also the upper side, you can have some decorative shelf right there, upside there. Because right at the ceiling here is about 11 something feet. And if you put an L-shaped sofa here, you can call it small party right here, and also separate the dining area and the living area, which will be quite nice in the layout.
The floor-to-ceiling windows allow light to filter into the living room.
Can you show me the view?
Yeah, sure. We go to the balcony. The balcony is in a square shape, which is quite good to use.
Can we put any table here?
Maybe it's a bit small, but you can enjoy a glass of wine right here also. Because here you got the Victoria Harbor view, you can see, and some Manhattan view, quite bright, and the city view also.
Can we see firework here?
You can see the firework up here, but not the balls.
So what about the rest of the unit?
Can you show me the kitchen?
Yeah, sure. The kitchen here is the enclosed kitchen. It's very different from the new building will only provide an open kitchen. When you are cooking, actually the smell won't go out to the living and the dining area. And also, they provide the gas stove rather than the electrical stove, which is better for cooking. This one is the oven. Most of the experts like to use this kind of equipment. And also the microwave, and also the wine cellar.
Then where's the bedroom?
This one is the duplex unit. The bedroom is just upstairs. Let me show you. Alice, this is the master bedroom. This is the ensuite.
Then, Mr. Bao, this flat is not that huge, but it has a staircase. It already takes up some space. It's not practical.
Actually, it takes up some space away also, but it offers you the privacy which other units cannot provide you. If some people are in the living room or dining room having their party time, then you can also rest here with silence.
The size of the bedroom is 200 square feet.
How do you lay out the furniture here?
Here you can put a bed here. Actually, I think you can put queen size or king size also. With the bed head here, you can have free size space to get off the bed. And also you can put the wardrobe right there. And here you got the sea view. If you fully utilize the whole bedroom, you can also put some cushion or sofa on here, and you can enjoy the view with your books.
The view seems even nicer than the one in the living area.
Yeah, sure, because right here got one floor upper than the dining and the living area. So the view right here, you can see more sea in the harbor.
There's a utility platform outside that can allow fresh air into the bedroom.
Now the owner is asking almost $30,000 per square foot, which is higher than the average. That is reasonable.
Yes, it's a reasonable price, because actually this unit is a special unit in the avenue. Only 52 units are with this style, like the duplex one-room units. Only 4% of the units with this duplex one-room. Also, the line the asking price is in line with the bank valuations.
But it only has one bedroom. Then who would like to buy this kind of flats?
Most popular would be the long-term investor. As you know, in the avenue, the rental market is quite nice, and the avenue is the only estate right here got the direct access to the MTR station. And also in the Wanchai area, got so many offices that will provide a high-quality teams.
Amenities-wise, it offers a large clubhouse and a parking space.
The selling price of this unit, which is around 8% higher than the average price of the avenue. However, this apartment is at a high level, and this is also a duplex unit. So they will think that such type of the unit will yield a high unit price.
The Financial Secretary, Paul Chan, announced the government will relax Hong Kong's mortgage lending policy, allowing first-time buyers to get a 90% loan for properties worth up to $10 million, compared with the current $8 million. Scientists in the Ivory Coast. They're taking a DNA sample from an endangered West African forest elephant. to help track the gangs that control the global ivory trade. The sedated animal will also be moved to an area where it's less likely to be slaughtered by poachers. Using the DNA evidence from the elephant ivory, the conservationists have determined as few as 3 major global criminal groups are responsible for smuggling the vast majority of elephant ivory tusks out of Africa. The data suggests these transnational criminal organizations, or TCOs, use trafficking hubs in Kampala, Uganda, Mombasa, Kenya, and Lome, Togo.
You can stop the trade at where the ivory is being consolidated and exported out of the country. Those are really the key players that you need to get. They're the choke point, and our work has shown that they have been operating for decades. They are the people that the poachers depend on to buy their ivory. So if you can get them, you can break the whole trade.
Sample by sample, year by year, Wasser and his team have amassed the world's largest collection of ivory DNA, taken from the tusks of more than 4,300 elephants trafficked out of Africa between 1995 and today. The aim is to allow prosecuting authorities to understand how one seizure in one country might be tied to a multitude of others. Each year, some 500 metric tons of poached elephant tusks are shipped from Africa, mostly to Asia. Hong Kong finally banned the last traces of its ivory trade at the beginning of 2022.
That's the show. Thanks for watching. Next time on Money Matters, how the fifth wave is affecting Hong Kong's businesses and forcing some multinationals to move to higher ground. See you then. Good night.